Good afternoon, YouTube friends. Thanks so much for coming by. Today we are making pot stickers from scratch, totally vegan, fresh, whole food ingredients. Keep on watching to see how we do it. Okay guys, first things first, we got an olive supervising so we know where they're going to be good. I've also got 2 cups of flour in my stand mixer here. I added a 1/4 cup of pink Himalayan sea salt and 3/4 of a cup of super hot water. I'm just letting that dough hook mix it up a little bit. I've also added a 1/2 tablespoon of olive oil, and that's it for the dough. It's super simple. You can of course do this by hand, but the stand mixer definitely makes it come together a little bit more quickly. But once we've got this really roughly put together dough, we're just going to turn it out onto a floured surface and work it into a nice uniform ball. So I probably needed for about 4 minutes. I was just trying to get everything nice and smooth and uniform. Once we're looking like just about that, we're going to let it rest. Normally I would wrap this in saran wrap, but I don't have any. But I did have some Ziploc bags, so we are making it work. Fits perfectly. Just gonna zip this up and let it sit out on the counter for at least a half an hour, ideally about an hour. So while our dough is resting, we're just gonna get started on our filling. Today I'm using some carrot, green onion, napa cabbage, and some white button mushrooms that I found on Manager Special. Side note, if you go to the grocery store early, I know I've said this before, they have clearance produce sometimes. Totally worth taking a look. But anyway, I have finely chopped our mushrooms and carrots. I want to keep them pretty small so they will fit in our pot stickers really nicely. So I'm just cooking them down in a titch of olive oil. I'm going to add some garlic salt, some onion powder, and some black pepper. I'll leave the amounts in the description box below, of course. And we are just going to kind of sweat them out, get those carrots to start getting tender, and get our mushrooms to reduce to about half the size they are when we put them in. This is looking perfect. They've definitely reduced in size. Now I'm going to add our napa cabbage. This is a half of that giant cabbage. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of water. This is going to help that cabbage start to steam and break down and get smaller and smaller. Just adding a lid to let it steam in there for a little bit. And that's what it looks like all cooked down. It's been about 10 minutes or so on medium heat. I'm now going to turn off the heat and add that whole bunch of spring onions. I did reserve about 1 onion for our sauce. And we're just going to mix it up and put it in a bowl to the side so we can fill up our little pot stickers. So it's been about 40 minutes and our dough is looking a lot more pliable, nice and soft. So I'm just going to kind of get it started, flattening it out. It's not quite sticky, so I'm not worrying about flouring my surface, but you of course can, depending on what you're using surface-wise. Or if your dough's a little bit more sticky, by all means add a little bit of flour. I have also got the most gigantic rolling pin you've ever seen in your life. A little bit overkill, but it's working great. We are just going to roll this dough out to about a 1/4 inch thickness. Get it as thin as you can. Honestly, if you have a pasta roller, that works even better, but for hand-rolled pot stickers, a 1/4 inch will totally do. And one thing I'm doing is I'm rotating it and pulling it off the surface every time I do a roll by, and that's part of what's getting it to not stick to anything. And once we're at about a 1/4 inch thickness, I'm going to take a super high-tech tool called a cup that's about 3 inches in diameter, and I believe it is coming up there we go. This cup will work great. It's the perfect size. I find the larger the pot sticker you can make, the easier it is to get those folds down. So 3 inches seems to be pretty great. You can also use a mason jar or the little metal ring that comes around a wide mouth mason jar. It cuts through a little bit more like a cookie cutter, but this with a little bit of elbow grease worked just great. So I'm just going to punch out all of these little circles here, and then I'll roll the dough back up and roll it out again and get some more circles. I believe we get about 9 out of this recipe. And once we've rolled everything out and punched out all of our little pot sticker dumpling circles, I'm just going to go back through and get them a little bit more thin. As we cut them, the dough kind of seized back up and got a little thicker again. So I'm just going to get these even more thin. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than a 3-inch pot sticker. These are a dinner size pot sticker. I do find they're easier to crimp though, the larger they are. So it's a nice way to learn how to close a dumpling here. And once we've got some nice and thin little wrappers here, we're just going to start filling them up. There's our filling that we made earlier. I've got a little dish of water here that's going to seal our dough. So what I'm going to do is just grab one of these little discs here, and I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold it in my left hand and scoop about 2 spoonfuls of our filling into the wrapper here. You're going to want to put more in than you think will fit, because you definitely want it to be more filling than dough. Then I'm going to take my finger and glide it along 1/2 of the pot sticker. Then we're going to fold it like a taco. And I'm going to pinch. Then I'm going to do a pleat. Then I'm going to pinch. And then I'm going to do a pleat. And I'm going to keep on working all the way around, trying to stuff any of that filling in if need be. You really just want to make sure that your whole dumpling is totally sealed off. So just make sure you're pressing and getting a nice seal on that. The water will definitely help keep it closed and help it stick together. There's one. Clearly, I am not a pot sticker maker expert, but these will do, and they taste amazing. So practice really makes perfect with this technique, I'm finding. So I'm just scooping it in, and we're just going to show you one more time so you can see what it looks like, because it does take a few times. So I'm just putting a little water around 1/2 of that edge, folding it like a taco again. Then we're going to press, pleat, press, and pleat until we work our way all the way around our little pot sticker here. Ta-da! So the awesome thing about this recipe is you could double or triple the batch, make your dumplings, freeze them, and then just pull them out as needed. If you have a party or something, pull a batch out of the freezer, get them defrosted, cook them on up. It's really kind of a nice make-ahead meal. So to cook these little guys up, we're just going to plop them into a large skillet with a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to put the flat side down so it gets a nice brown on it. We're going to let them saute for about 4 minutes or until they're golden brown. We're going to try not to let anything touch so they don't stick together. After it's been about 4 or so minutes, we have a nice little golden brown dumpling here. And then all we're going to do is add a 1/2 cup of water and put a lid on and let it steam until all of that water has evaporated. So while our dumplings are steaming away, I'm just going to make up a super quick and easy dipping sauce. I've got some Thai chili sauce here and some low sodium soy sauce. I'm doing 2 parts chili sauce to 1 part soy sauce here. I'm going to mix it up, and then I'm going to add in about a 1/2 tablespoon of chili paste. I like my sauce to have a little bit of a kick. So of course omit that completely if you're not into super spicy, or kind of go with what you like. To get this ratio down, I kind of just messed with amounts and added a little bit here and there until I got what I liked, and I found that this ratio works really awesome. It has a nice little kick to it, but also some sweetness and some nice saltiness from that soy sauce. Once we got everything mixed on up, I'm just going to garnish it with a little bit of those green onions that we saved, and we are good to go. And by now our little pot stickers should be nice and steamed and ready to go. Look at that, all of our water's evaporated. Got ourselves some beautiful hefty little pot stickers here. And there you have it, from scratch vegan pot stickers. I hope that you guys give this recipe a try. I hope that you're staying safe and healthy, and I'm excited to talk to you soon. Cheers.